Welcome to another video, and today we're taking a look at the Razer Kraken V3 Hypersense, and I have to say this headset was almost perfect, so stick around to see why. This is the Razer Kraken V3, and it is equipped with Razer's Hypersense feature, which was found on the Nari Ultimate. And I have to say the headset is really good, and not just because of the Hypersense feature, but for everything else as well. Now in the box itself, you do get the Razer headset, which is connected via a USB-A cable, and the cable is around 1.8 meters long. You also have your removable boom mic, your manual and stickers, and of course your thank you letter. Now, as mentioned, the Razer Kraken V3 does connect via USB cable, which wasn't the worst decision, but also not the best decision. But you can also use this headset with PC as well as consoles, and it even works on the PlayStation 5, which I really like to see, as usually these headsets kind of either split off into one direction, only supporting Xbox or only supporting PlayStation, or not supporting either of them. So it's good to see that they actually included PlayStation plus the PC and everything else as well. For me, I would have loved a 3.5mm auxiliary cable, as it makes the headset a little bit more portable, especially when you use it with consoles and you can plug it into the controller. It kind of makes the headset wireless, even though it's not wireless. But of course, all things aside, the USB cable is at least pretty long, and while sitting in gaming, you don't really move that much. So if you seat yourself next to the console or close to the console, it doesn't really matter. Now, as far as the mic quality goes, the mic on the headset isn't that great, but it's also not the worst that I've ever heard. I wouldn't particularly use the mic to make YouTube videos, but of course for general Discord calls and games, it's more than all right. And I of course love the fact that you can actually remove it for those days that you don't actually need the mic, then you don't have the mic actually always in the way. But here's a little sample of how the mic actually sounds on the headset so you can decide for yourself. This is the audio quality of the Razer Kraken V3 headset mic. Now this is of course straight out the box, standard the way it is, and this is probably what it's going to sound like for general people, especially in gaming. But of course, if you want to use this mic for streaming or content creation and you want to add some EQ on top of this, this is what the mic could sound like potentially if you added some EQ on top of it. Now, as far as the materials and the quality of the headset go, I have to say it is really good. Now, the headset itself is really comfortable to wear. The cups itself aren't leather, and it's actually a cloth material, which I really enjoyed, especially because of the fact that my ears do run hot when I actually wear headsets. Those really made it a little bit more breathable and made it a little bit more comfortable to wear for longer extended periods of time. Now, the headset of course can also adjust in length, and they do have these handy little markers on the side, making it easy for you to actually adjust both sides equally, which can sometimes be a problem. And it also makes it easier for you to remember what setting you had it, to always have it set up perfectly, even though you might move it around or bump it and it actually goes in and out a little bit. It's easy for you to just readjust it to the correct length and have it sit perfectly every single time. And then lastly, when actually stretching and adjusting the headset itself, it didn't crack, it didn't make any sounds, it didn't creak, it felt really solid, and it also felt like it was very sturdy while doing all of that, which is always a good sign, meaning that there is at least some sort of build quality when it comes to this headset. And then for all the RGB fans out there, the headset also has some RGB lights on the side with the Razer logo surrounded by a little small ring. And of course, you can control the lighting as well. And then of course, if you don't actually want lighting on the side, you can always turn that off. So if you don't like the RGB, no big stress. Now, although the Razer Kraken V3 is a plug-and-play headset, you can also connect it to Razer Synapse to add a little bit more customization to the headset itself. Firstly, you can access bass boost, sound normalization, and voice clarity. Then you also have access to a 10-band EQ to really dial in the audio of the headset itself, meaning that whatever you are actually using the headset for, you can really dial in the sound. And then of course, you can also control the intensity of the haptics itself, with it either being off, low, medium, or high. And then of course, if you don't have access to Razer Synapse, you can also use the dedicated haptic button on the side to change the intensity of the haptics on the headset, and all of them have their own dedicated little sound, meaning that it's easy to identify which setting you're on without having to actually see it on a screen. Now on the headset itself, as mentioned, you do have your haptic button to change the intensity of your haptics. Then you also have a mic mute button to actually turn your mic on and off. And then you have a volume scroll wheel, which is pretty standard to actually change the volume in the headset itself. Now, as far as the Hypersense features go, I really did enjoy using it. It was a really cool feature, and it really did add another level of immersion while playing games. But for me, it only added another level of immersion while using it on low or medium. Now for me, medium was kind of the sweet spot with haptic settings, as it gave you a lot of haptic feedback with general sounds, but it wasn't as overbearing as the high setting, as the high setting really gave you a lot of haptic feedback on almost anything that had bass. So even if characters were talking to you in game, it would actually give you a haptic feedback, which kind of distorted the sound as well because of the vibrations that it actually went through. So it just kind of diminished the sound quality for me, as well as just gave me too much haptics, and it kind of got to the point where it was just a little too much. Now the overall audio quality out of the box for the Razer Kraken V3 was really good, and the fact that you do have access to a 10-band EQ to really dial in the sound really makes it really ideal for anybody, whether you're actually using it to make music, make videos, or just generally listening to music or just playing games. You can easily dial in the sound the way that you like or the way that it should be by using the 10-band EQ. Now, as I said, for me, I was really happy with the audio quality out of the box itself. I use it to play games, watch videos, as well as listen to music, and all of that I could do very comfortably. But of course, if it is something that does bother you, as I said, you do have access to the 10-band EQ. So as far as audio quality goes, it shouldn't be that big of a problem with this headset, as you can actually go out and change it. Now overall, the Razer Kraken V3 Hypersense for me was a really good headset and had a lot of great features, and the only really big thing that I didn't enjoy is the fact that it was wired, and the fact that it was wired via USB. Now of course, if Razer actually brings out a Pro version which is wireless, then of course this headset could, in my opinion at least, be almost perfect, as you can use it with almost any device that you have. And of course it has the Hypersense feature, and then of course the 10-band EQ, and all of that combined really makes this headset perfect. And if it's wireless, then of course it's just that much better. But of course, opinions can differ, as you may not enjoy the haptic feedback, or you may not enjoy the actual look and feel of the headset. But if that is something that you don't like, then of course the headset is not made for you. And that is it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe. And as always, if you have any questions on this headset or any other headset that I've done, leave them down in the comment section below. I really do like getting back to you guys on those. Or you can reach out to me on any of my other social media platforms. I really will reply to you over there as well. And then of course, if you're looking to buy the Razer Kraken V3, I have left links down in the description below. So some of those are affiliate links. So if you actually use those links to make a purchase, the channel does get a little bit of kickback, which really does help the channel out. So if you use those links, once again, as always, thank you very much. And then as always, cheers.